So my name is Rashod Taylor. I was born and raised in McLean County in Bloomington, Illinois. So this is a homecoming for me. I'm really excited. Went to school locally and graduated and went to Murray State University down in Kentucky. Oh, well, they gave me the most money, I had scholarships to go there, and they came to Normal Community High School and talked to us about Murray State. No one had heard of it at the time, and I decided to make my way down south. Yep, returned to Bloomington after I graduated and started working in banking and then insurance. So started in portraiture, I would say a little bit in high school, all the way back there, but I would say it started to develop in college. I was really into just people. I'm a people person, want to just explore the portrait and what that can mean, what that says. So I would say I just continued to explore that as I graduated college and just kind of pursued photography that way. Portraiture kind of just always talked to me. Yeah, so I would say the way to portraiture affect my image making, I'm really into the old masters, so the Avedons, the Sally Manns, Gordon Parks, and just how they approached portraiture and how they gave meaning to just some mundane scenes, some just straightforward portraits of a face. And I was really interested in what that could mean. For me, I think my approach is more constructive. So I like the constructive image. I like to put my subjects in different places, different atmospheres, different backgrounds to convey a meaning that I want to get across to the viewer. Point. I would say I'm still experimenting. I have plans to go even bigger with wet plate, but I would say for each series of work, I typically try to choose a medium that works. So for some of the wet plate work, it really was about tying the history of photography and then tying the history of history, right? When you think of wet plate, collodion, and the Civil War, it was popular in the 1860s to turn of the century. So with those pictures, I wanted to really get back to tying what it was to live back then and some of the institutions and feelings about people of color, Black people, that has kind of bridged the gap all the way till now, and just kind of tie those together. But then at the same time, other work, so the Little Black Boy series, just kind of a nod to the masters of just using film. I mean, I love film. It's obviously it's so cliche. Everyone says it slows you down, but it legitimately does, and I just take more time and care when I'm using film and then my large format camera. So for me, I think experimentation has to go along with the work. It has to enhance it, or there's not really a reason to use different forms and different mediums unless it's enhancing what you're trying to say. As I never was consider myself a great writer. I'm working on it. It was just a way to express myself, express my feelings, a way to visually talk to people. So that's my language, right? Instead of writing, it's visually talking to folks. And I think for me, it was just natural. Like I always had a camera in my hand. I always made pictures. And then I think at a certain point, I thought to myself, well, I want my pictures to say something else. I want them to mean something more than just snapshots. And then from there, I think I just took it to that level where I can communicate. And, every picture is not some deep philosophical meaning, but I would say that intuitively, I am drawn to certain things, right? I'm drawn to people, I'm drawn to ideas, and I want to, get those, have a dialogue with the viewer with those things. Yeah. I will say though, I did start as a proud dad taking pictures of a child, right? So, when LJ was born 8 years ago, that's really how I started. I just started making pictures of him with my Leica, and I felt as I looked at the film and as he got older, I saw different things in the film, right? I saw some juxtapositions of him and the world around him, and I thought to myself, I would love to share more of this. I felt like there was enough there that I could expand on it and really tell a story. So not just my own personal story of being a dad in the Midwest, raising a black son, but just this bigger story of the black experience and what that looks like, and how, people can actually connect regardless of what you look like. You can connect to the images because of that, idea that, everyone has either a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a close friend that may or may not have been, around LJ's age at some point. So I feel like at a family level, at a human level, people can connect to that. I would say yes. I would say I am taking ownership of that back, because I think the big point that I'm trying to get across is really those terms mean something different for me, right? It's about love and tenderness, and myself and my wife, our relationship with LJ. And I feel like, we're empowering ourselves to express that and to show that to others. And I think that, you made a great point. I haven't really thought a lot about the terms and the empowering, but you're 100% right. I feel that it does empower us to, honestly, to control our own narrative. So for me, that's a lot of it's about too, because I feel like there's so many things outside of our control, but to control a narrative of what life for me and my son and my family is like, but then also to show that to others, to say, hey, there are loving, kind black families out there, which, essentially was probably 95% of the people I grew up with, or even family. Like, that's all I know, and I think we get it's not represented properly, in the media and things, when you see just the negative stories. There's not enough of the positive stories. And for me, the positive stories is just how we lived our life. So this show is Little Black Boy. So this work started about 5 or 6 years ago. I've always photographed my son, but I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, I took it a little more seriously, and I wanted to really express kind of just the feelings I have of, being a black father, raising a black son in America, and not only, showing his life, his childhood, his upbringing, and the joys and the ups and downs, but also just, I guess, internally too, because we think about it as photographers, as a portrait photographer at least, you see yourself in all your images. So that rings really true for me in the images of my son, because he is my son, but a lot of it too is just self-reflective, my own insecurities and thoughts and fears about how do I do this? This is my first and our only child, so how do I help him navigate through society and culture? And I talk about in my art statement, there's a weight, and you said it too, Doug, there's a weight that I have to bear, that everyone doesn't, right? And I have to bear that for him and help guide him to, live life as just a upstanding citizen, and just kind of get through some of the muck that we have to go through as it comes to racism and not being treated fairly, and just how society has dealing with the history, but then also let's look at the future and where can we go to. He loves it. He is his mother's son, right? Loves attention, loves the spotlight. So he's definitely embraced it. I was very pleased his reactions to everything. He's like, "Oh, Daddy, I'm famous." I'm like, "Yeah, you are famous. You're the famous guy here." So yeah, he's definitely embraced it, and he loves it. So it's just amazing to see his face, like when I open up a magazine and his picture's there, and so he's definitely into it. So I'm hoping that he's into it longer.
Hold the star. She's a burrito. She's a burrito. Oh.
That's good because they get to use their creativity, just let it go wild.
Naomi, don't step on her.
All I can think of, this could just be seen like a picture of a scene of CSI.